Peace and love, everyone. Hope you all are rejoicing in this lovely day. I know I am. So I decided to make another video. But don't mind me, I'm also feeding my son. So I'm going to be like right here and like right here. But, I'm not going to step away too far. I know y'all miss me. So, today's video is maybe a little triggering. I'm not gonna lie. I definitely felt emotion in my body while listening to this conversation, while talking with this young lady. I had to prepare myself. Luckily, my grounding and regulation skills are being perfected daily. So I was able to handle it, but it was a close one. So I at least am warning you all. But I feel like the reason that I felt this type of stress is because of really the condition of what I think a lot of people in my, this is melanation, right? That's the name of the channel. So a lot of people that are can relate to me have been conditioned the same way I have been and have also been kept from a lot of information like I have. So I felt like it was important and it would only fit for me to share with you guys what I learned out and to just kind of put this on your mind for you guys to kind of take this and do with it what you will. So I went and I finally got in to see a wealth manager, a financial advisor, and I just wanted to see, I like to be a fly on the wall and I like to look at things from a lot of different angles, not just the angle that I want, because things don't always go the way that I want. So I try to prepare myself by getting a full 360. And so I went in to ask about setting up a trust and how trusts are set up, and just kind of get some knowledge from her and her wisdom, and just kind of hear some things I haven't heard from a perspective I had not heard concerning these words and equity and different things, right? And so as I started talking just about my full journey with her, she kind of stopped me and it was like, I just have two questions. She was like, what are you doing to fund your trust? She said said trust. She was like, what are you doing to fund said trust? And what are you doing to ensure that your trust is secure and it can keep going without you? And I already was speechless. Like, she started just going on and on. She asked me, she was like, you're talking to me about your 850 credit score. Obtaining it, not that I have one, but obtaining an 850 credit score, about debt and eliminating debt, and strategies and different ways to kind of get things in order. She said that in where I'm at, we talk about wealth. So the stuff you're talking about, by the time you get here, we're not talking about that. She was like, do you know your fin? She was like, what about your retirement? I didn't know what a fin was. She was like, your financial independent number, the number that you need to obtain, the amount of money that you need to obtain in order to be financially independent, not needing to go get the bag, right? And she said to the number to not have to go get the bag, and then retirement. Like, what are you doing to make sure that when you're ready to stop chasing the bag, that you can do so comfortably, that you're not in poverty, that you're not on food stamps, waiting for disability, waiting for SSI, hoping that your children can help you pay seeing what grants are out there, just kind of living in this space where you're relying on God for every single thing, praying for every single thing, right? And I'm just sitting here just thinking like, wow, that is the case, for a lot of people, that we spend. She said, she was talking about entrepreneurship, and she was talking about how there's people who were entrepreneurs for 20-25 years following this dream, and not knocking for having the dream. I'm not feeding him fast enough. Not knocking him for having the dream, but knocking him for not having a plan to ensure and secure what he's doing, and to secure his legacy, so that if anything happened to him, the legacy can still go on. And when I say anything, mental illness, a health condition, I mean, we're people. And a lot of times we're not thinking about that when we go into business. We're not thinking about those, what could happen. You know what I mean? We're focused on good energy, motivation, keeping ourselves up, making sure we're, dotting all the I's, crossing all the T's. We're not thinking about, car wrecks and horrible accidents and anything like that. Like I said, mental illness, stress, PTSD, anxiety. We're not thinking about those spells and different things like that, and it really just had me thinking, and I started kind of getting nervous. That's when I start feeling different things in my chest, like, wow, I am doing the A for V's, and I'm getting rid of these debts on my credit, and I'm shutting down credit agencies, and just like getting this stuff done. But I have not began to talk about the different streams of income, and them being connected to an account that's feeding my trust, an account that is building interest. See, we talk a lot about the banks and their monetization, but we're not talking about what doing business with those banks, what we get. We're talking about what they get, and how they do get that fractionalization, and how they do get their cut, but we're not talking about what we get from doing business with them. See, what I want to start doing is keeping myself safe in commerce, keeping myself safe when dealing with these entities, but at the same time building my legacy and ensuring that when my children are at my age and they are wanting to learn and grow and invest and start their businesses and raise their families, that they don't have to go get the bag, that they can pick up the streams of incomes that I have attached to these different accounts inside of my portfolio. Because that's what when they start talking about diversifying their portfolio, these are things that we don't really talk about, because we are on the end of and focused on how these companies and these agencies are doing harm, and they really are, but they're only able to do this harm because we're not protecting ourselves, and then we also don't know how to enforce that protection, right? And it's not to bring like shame or guilt. We are prepared to be a slaughter. We are prepared to be a sacrifice. We are conditioned to not know this stuff and to not pay attention to it, but to waste our time and to look into things that don't give us what we need when we are tired, when we get to that place of rest. The word says that God gives rest to those he loves. So there comes a time where we have to rest. We're not going to be wanting to run this race forever. And the best thing that we can do for not only ourselves, but for our families, if we're talking about our trust and we're talking about protecting our family, I mean, authenticating our birth certificates and doing all of that. We're talking about all of that, but how tragic would it be for us to be doing all of that and something happens, anything negative that we don't want to think about or we don't want to speak on, but happens all the time, happens. And while we were talking about how much we were doing for our family, we leave them with nothing but stacks of paper and stamps and envelopes. I don't want to, that will not be our future. We are going to learn what we need to learn, not all this extra information. We're going to learn what we need to know. What we need to know is how to secure, what did she say? To fund our trust. We need to figure out how to fund our trust without the stress and the anxiety and the trauma that comes from working without a plan, right? You're just doing the actions, but there's no real plan in place except to build the infrastructure, but you're not putting anything else into place. So I am going to start looking into what that number is, my financial independent number. How much money do I need to bring in each month so that I can study without being under duress? Because I still want to study what I'm going to study. Like, I still want to study this. I still want to study the laws. It's not changing that. Because that's how you know how to defend yourself and enforce stuff. But I want to be able to afford that and afford the classes and afford the certificates. You know what I mean? Afford the gas money and afford the plane tickets to go fly for a class. Because even though all these classes and courses that people are training us about, the passports and making your own passports and making your own IDs and getting these cases filed and doing all that stuff still requires money. And then for those who are doing things without the money, without the Federal Reserve notes, and we are, those that are utilizing processes without using Federal Reserve notes still know that the mentors and trainers that are teaching us how to do that, they want Federal Reserve notes. So for us to think that we can get through this whole thing without it is a very stressful fight, when what we can really do is figure out how to utilize the Federal Reserve notes as the tool that it is for this realm, because we are the head and we're not the tail. We are not here to struggle and stress. There is a divine plan and there is a will of the creator of all creation that is one that we were not put here to struggle and stress. The word says that just like he takes care of the day, just as he dresses the daisies and just as he takes care of the sparrows, he does for us. And so it is the same for us. Things are already set in place for us to eat without all of this panic. So I'm going to start looking into this, what I can do for retirement. I'm not saying that I have to go and do stuff in this. Oh my goodness. I'm not saying that I have to go do stuff in a traditional way, but I am going to start looking into residual income, passive income opportunities, which we all should be doing, but looking at it in a way of how can I set this account up to for investments, set up a whole economy of accounts that feed each other, that that are for investments and savings and being able to do mutual funds. I mean, we can do things together, Melanation. We can with the knowledge that we know, we can create a community within us that we get everything we need in our community. You know what I mean? Like, we can talk more about this. I don't want the video to be too long. And I also got to clear some space on my phone. That's really why I'm going to get off, because I would go on. But when I go live on Saturday, we can talk about this more. But if you're interested in the stuff that I'm talking about, you want to hear more about this, more about that particular journey, I'm still going to share other things on the secure party creditor journey, because I think there has to be a great balance of both. Both are valid. Both routes are valid. And I think we need to work on ensuring our family while we are on our journey. You want to make sure that there's stuff in place while we're on our journey, because we know how much stuff doesn't work out the way that we want it to, or it may take longer than we want. So we want to use our wisdom. We don't want to go in here seeming like we didn't know that it could be like this. So I'm gonna sign off here. He's getting real fussy. I will catch me on my Instagram. Catch me in the Facebook group if you haven't. I also finally got a TikTok. I'm doing things, y'all. I'm growing up, right? So catch me on those. Like I said, and tap in on Saturday. Much peace.